Whenever that happens there, just let me know.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I don't see. I don't have any additions, so, can I get a confirmation of the agenda? Jennifer, all in favor? Is there any pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Can I get an approval of the minutes for the committee meeting for August 19th, 2022? Brent? All in favor? Okay, we do have two delegations today. We've allotted half an hour for, well, actually, usually we do 10 and 10.
Yeah.
So 10 minutes for presentation, 10 minutes for questions. So our first delegation today is Carmen Krog. I hope I'm Krog. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
Okay, thank
For
you.
the summary of updates on wind turbines.
Right, thank you.
You have the floor.
It's been a while since I've been here, maybe 5-6 years. So I've been researching the health file around wind turbines since the fall of 2008. And we've had some progress or recognition internationally, not so much here in Ontario, although back in 2011, the first environmental review tribunal that was held under the Green Energy Act, they did acknowledge that the debate shouldn't be simplified to one about whether wind turbines cause harm to humans. And I gave you that quote. That was in their decision. The evidence presented to the tribunal demonstrates they can if they're placed too close to residents. And now the debate is a matter of the degree. Now, we don't know what that means, the matter or the degree. Is it distance like setbacks? Or is it to do with serious harm? Under the Green Energy Act, just as a refresher, before a project was built and operated, a community or a municipality or an individual could ask for a review of the approval process. And you would then go to an environmental review tribunal, and there you had to prove that you had to predict the future before it was built, that it would cause serious harm to human health. And that's a very difficult test in health. Normally, we look for associations when you have new things like that. So while we've had some progress internationally where harm has been recognized by judicial processes, it hasn't really, it's been slow here in Ontario. We've had one case at Ostrander Point where the Blandings turtle was deemed to be at risk of extinction. So the second part of serious harm was irreversible harm for the environment and maybe species. We also had little brown bat at another facility which was deemed to be at risk of extinction there. So a couple of cases have been won here. Now, causation is a really tough one in health to prove because there's so many dynamics around it. And what we've done, I gave you as well as my bio, a brief summary of some of the references for which I'm an author or a co-author in peer-reviewed journals. And there's 23 so far that we've published successfully. Some are in medical journals, and some I'm the lead in there, and sometimes I'm a co-author. When you look at the very first peer review one on page 1 here, you'll see one that talks about the Bradford Hill criteria. That's used in health often for causation. And we successfully got a very good journal to accept our premise that when we applied the Bradford Hill criteria for causation to wind turbines, it showed that, yeah, there are genuinely some issues here with wind turbines having a causation effect. So we were pleased with that article because Bradford Hill is used often in health when you're using complicated diagnoses. I've also been interested from the beginning because I met people early on in 2009 that were forced to leave their homes because of the noise emissions and some of the other emissions associated with the turbines. So we've now successfully, I conducted a study on vacated homes, and we've now got 3 articles published on it. Our 4th one is in process, with 4 more coming. So we've demonstrated that it is not only happening here in Ontario, but of course internationally, that some people can't live near the turbines and have to leave. And sometimes that's on a doctor's recommendation. So we have made some progress on this. And I thought it would be important to update you how far we've come in terms of the publications, the peer-reviewed publications that we have, and some of the other things. I get invited a lot to speak at universities. I've spoken across Canada and as far as California and Massachusetts, Vermont. Like, I get a lot of invites for that. Not since the pandemic, I haven't gone anywhere. But my last point is Ontario has a hotline where incident reports of effects from the wind turbines can be filed. And back in 2018, a Freedom of Information request from Ontario Ministry of Environment provided over 6,000 incident reports that people had filed. That is an incredible amount. And we all know what an incident report reflects. They're pretty important. They also call them complaints, but the forms that Ontario government uses are incident reports. And a colleague of mine has requested the incident reports from 2018 to present. And there's been a lot of delays because estimates are much higher than that. So I do believe people when they say they have health problems, they can't live in their homes. I've interviewed many people, and I'm in touch with physicians and other PhDs and across the world. And no matter what the language is spoken in a country, the descriptions of the effects are the same. It's uncanny. People will say it's like a jet flying overhead that never quits. So those are, I guess, strong direction that there's a consistency going on in, across the world. I wanted to let you know about the numbers in Ontario of exposure. Based on an analysis of the projects that are operating now, there's approximately 92,000 people living within 1,500 meters. And that's the size of Pickering. The thing is that the projects are spread all over. So they're in isolated groupings. But if you, I think from a community like here that you'd have, well, let's say you were Pickering and you had a high number of complaints or incident reports, there would be concern. So my goal is to have an acknowledgement so that we can get this right, because I do believe it was unexpected that the scale of effects would be such as they are. I really do believe that. My last point is, when I started working on this, the turbines in Ontario were 1.36 megawatt. The last group was 3.2 megawatt. And studies have shown the effects are much more difficult, yet the setback levels are the same. And the most recent one just outside of Ottawa that was approved was 3.2 megawatts. And the number of people having problems, I'm in touch with them, and it's quite significant. So that's it. And if you have any questions or you want to talk to me later, as you saw from my bio, I share information with everyone. I don't discriminate. I share it with developers, with government, so on. So, and I thank you for your attention. And your CAO office is very efficient and good, and I think they deserve the kudos. So, thank you.
Thanks for letting us know, Carmen.
Thank you very much for the information, for sure.
Ask you, are they building them again? Like, everything went dead around here when, I hope I get the bank right, Goldman Sachs went bankrupt in the States and
Yeah.
everything went dead around here. I haven't heard about them.
Well, couple of things. There's always the option to extend an existing project. And it looks like one is being extended already that was established 10 years ago. So that has started. We don't know what that means. The second point is, I've been told by some that they are likely coming here into Renfrew County. And I don't have proof of that. So I've just been told that, because of the Ottawa one, they're moving forward towards here. So I don't know for sure.
Have you seen the wind farm of Sault Ste. Marie?
I know.
Okay. It's about 50 kilometers out of town. It's in the bush, one windmill per acre type thing.
Well,
No, it's totally remote.
that's always been the premise, that they need to be placed far away,
Mhm.
not in density. I've had, some people, like one person I know that moved, she had 33 around her house. And then I know others that are in the middle of a project and no matter which direction they go, they're there. So density is a big issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Yes,
So when you're talking 3.2 megawatts, so in retrospect, how much larger is that going to be the unit compared to 1.3? Do you have those dimensions or should I just look up?
I'm
online?
sorry.
You said 3.2 megawatts they're going
Yes.
to now instead of 1.3.
Yes,
So how much larger is that wind turbine going to be in respect? Do we know?
well,
Or-
there's predictions that they might be 5 megawatt.
Oh, 5 megawatts.
Yeah, now, like the newer ones, because there's a lot of effort to get more energy out of them.
Yeah.
In Europe, they were under they were 600 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Really, really small, like the height of the silo.
Yeah,
So,
because
yeah.
you have way too much congestion
Yes,
in Europe,
that's right.
whereas here they have less congestion, but
So
If-
there's a lot of dynamics
Yeah.
about it.
because if you're going to that size, I can just imagine how much larger the wind blades are to generate that much more
Yeah,
megawatt capacity, right? When they're
Physical dimensions.
Yeah, the physical dimension, so therefore realistically, I don't understand how they can make something physically larger and still stay with the same parameters. As you
Yeah.
touched on there, you said the parameters are the same for a 1.3 and 3.2.
yes, well, the noise levels and the distances remain the same. They do modeling, and not actual measurements.
Right,
So that's also something that's been talked about, and they only count DBA.
right,
And you know a lot about this.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the issues are the low frequency noise, infrasound, and the humming.
Yeah.
And the pulsating, because it goes,
the white noise type thing.
yeah,
It's-
it's a characteristic noise.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's been some very interesting work in Australia, where they're winning cases there. Because it's been recognized, that DBA doesn't do the job.
No.
Yeah, that type of measurement. I don't do that, but I kind of get glassy eyed when the acousticians talk to me.
I'll look it up online.
Yeah,
I'll look it up online.
Might be impossible.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm over
Well,
time.
that's
No,
fine.
That's fine. That's good information for this
Yeah.
council to listen to and possibly the next one going forward, right? So it's always good to have some advice.
Yes, and if you read the Bradford Hill one, the first one, it's open access, free of charge. That one kind of sets up the significance of how to diagnose the effects.
Mhm.
And by the way, a physician and I did get a diagnostic process approved It's in one of the very prestigious medical journals, Royal Society of Medicine in the UK. And that one is in here, and it's an interesting one too, because it will give you the references of things we're talking about.
Thank you,
And by the
Carmen.
way, all my documents are public, you can be shared.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much for your time.
It was nice to see you,
Yeah.
Brad.
I'm hot, it's hot in here.
It is, and there's no airflow. I know.
I can just- It's flushed out to get there. I know.
Bye.
Okay, next we have Tammy Beauchamp. 50 Animal Shelter.
So this is my first time.
Welcome, Tammy.
Okay, so as you are aware, some time ago, I'd already sent in a proposal and then I believe presented it to council. And I did not get the chance to sit in front of you, so I was asked to do my due diligence and come back with new info, which I did. So that was presented to you recently, I believe.
Yes, we have all that information in
Yeah.
our
You
package,
have it all.
and you did
So-
exactly what was asked, you know, insurance and costing out, so thank you.
Well,
for-
that's just the end of it. But anyway, so in my.
You mean that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, the index that I sent you was to talk about, well, for starters, I did have the letters that were given to me from the township and in my notes. I did not sign the agreement, as Annette is aware. She did give me a few extensions based on, to me, my conscience just said it didn't sound right and I needed answers to this and things to be clarified. So then on top of that, I was asked to seek legal advice, which I did. And I was advised, do not sign it. So I didn't. So then on top of that, the next thing is, I didn't get all the support letters from other townships because I was waiting. And in fact, one clarified to me in a recent email because they had Agnes and Bonnie went elsewhere, that it wouldn't be a good time to even support the shelter because they don't want to get caught in that they're already in a new contract at this time. So
So
when
not having the answer from this council for what you're bringing us today, moving forward, that might be, if this council says, yes, let's go with Tammy's proposal, then you can go back to them.
already thought of that one, yeah. Okay, so South Algonquin. The former CEO that gave a support letter. I think it was pretty good. Do you want me to read that, or is that something? No.
They're all-
Take the time. So anyway, they did
They're all,
support it. They
part of
are,
the public record, so they're available. I know Debbie's looking at her copies over there right now.
so. Place in town on my own, Pastel. So they backed us up, so there will no longer be an expense for shavings because they have offered a 45 bail on a skid yearly and to call in if I need. So there won't be that expense. Then Bright Eyes and Bushy Tails, they did a support letter as well, and they have been supporting for more than 10 years. And my question always was, in the past, when it comes up on budget, so much for food and so much for this, and I just shake my head because I'm thinking 99% of our food is donated, if not more. We don't have to pay that out. So they are going to continue as long as I can convince you guys. Or if I was to go private, they will support and do it. So then came to, I apparently was the only one who asked for the pound inspection report. Copy of it. So we have been cleared with everything. So in the past, as you can see now. Bonner Valley article, there we go. That was in the newspaper.
Yep,
I highlighted a few things. You mentioned about.
I want to know. I really want to know.
about
Why in
the
2018 were we told that there had to be water on site and now they're okay
Well,
with you?
okay, here's my question. Who told you that? Did that come from my former boss, Steve Baggett,
Yes,
his report, or was that from OMAFRA, Agriculture?
That was from Steve Deegan's report.
Well, that kind of explains, because there's no way when I have did my due diligence and speaking to people, including Brian Martin, that the question to him was, being 2005, 2006, when the shelter was open, that he was a big part of that, okay? That they never would have passed all those inspections all those years if there was an issue with the potable water brought in the way it was.
Absolutely. So
Never.
it never seemed to be an issue until that 2017, 2018 report.
But again, that's coming from Steve. That's not agriculture's report, which I've been trying to get a hold of that report, and I will still get it.
I would like
I'm
to
on
see
it.
it.
So anyways, this report that was done on, I can't even see, where's my glasses? Oh my God. Okay,
I think
this was done in June.
June 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah, June on the 7th. So everything was cleared on this report,
Mhm.
and it, there was one thing brought to my attention. Second page. And Annette had brought this to my attention, did discuss with Tammy about the outdoor enclosures.
Yeah.
Which I corrected her to go to page 31 in the manual, because that's not there because Karen Dickey put it in, the inspector, that she had a concern. It was put there because I brought it to her attention. The year Steve was off, and nobody knew if he was coming back at the time, that I went to Brian and said, okay, I talked to Craig, who is the former inspector for the shelter. And I said, there's things that aren't making sense here with what they want to do. So Craig says, well, I'll come up. You're right. What I told him, he says, you're right. Maybe we can come up with something else. And Brian gave me the okay. Go ahead, talk to him, whatever you can come up with, you do. So they're not mandatory in the manual. They cannot force any shelter or pound to put up outdoor closures. Yes, it would be great for dogs to exercise. Okay, regardless, I'm gonna have the cleaning outside, I'm gonna have the cleaning inside.
And
But
we,
they're not mandatory.
and we knew that. Steve did say that in his 2018 report, that they were not mandatory.
Well, according to the Bonnechere Valley news report, you had a concern about that.
I was concerned that them coming in and doing a new inspection, they might say you have to have outdoor runs.
Yeah,
But what we were told in 18 was, no, if you take them down, you do not necessarily have to rebuild
no,
them.
it was just a guideline to say, if you are to reconstruct, it's the same as an
Yes.
old house you buy full of asbestos, you don't touch it, you're good to go. The minute you open it, everything's according to code, it has to be redone.
Yes,
So that's all they were saying. These are the new materials and products you need to do if you move forward in a new one.
right.
But other than that, absolutely not. We will never close you based on no outside runs. They are not mandatory. You do not have to provide them. The same with the water. I asked several times to Karen Dickey, who did the report, over the phone. I said, can you put something in writing to back that up? She said, Tammy, you have the report. It says it all. Quite frankly, I don't care where you get your water, as long as it's clean, safe water for the dogs. So I'm thinking, if I get at the fire hall, nobody else in town is sick, so the dogs are good to go.
Right,
It's not an issue. So we don't have to cover those costs.
okay. So
And everything was good.
so we have to rely on staff members bringing us reports that reflect what the ministries are telling them. We have to trust in our staff, and we have to make sure that, obviously it sounded reasonable. I asked at the time, what does water on site mean? Because obviously you're using the huge
Yeah,
water
yeah.
cube. Does that qualify? And your former boss told us no. So then there was the question, there is a well there. Would there be a way to remediate it to make it potable water? We were told no.
Because it's contaminated.
It's
from the
contaminated,
roads.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I realize that. So I guess the bottom line is we're good to go on the water. We're good to go
Okay.
on everything, actually. So
Yeah,
that's that report, and that's why I referred back to the manual, which I also brought, because that was page 31 in here that said.
No,
I'm not gonna lie, I did not read the whole thing.
but I can also state too, like, we can only make decisions on guidance that we're given from
Well, I have a question to that.
I know.
If you were given that information.
Yes.
from Mr. Fegan,
Yes,
okay, so now I'm new on, I've been there over 7 years, but
Yep.
new on the end of it. As
Yep.
far as, I don't know the protocol.
Right.
I just assumed all inspection reports are automatically sent here, or the bylaw officer would be on top of that to make sure he gets a copy before anybody comes out with anything put in the paper, anything, make sure your ducks are lined up. So in saying that, this is a new girl. She doesn't, I guess, obviously didn't know. I didn't know. I just happened to call her and say, can I get a copy of it? She said, not a problem. She emailed me it and away we went. So if I can get it, how come my supervisor is not getting it? Should it
I-
not be left to the supervisor to provide? And I'm not just talking now at the present, I'm talking, Steve should have presented, not his report, agriculture's report.
And I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But our department heads get reports from all of their ministries. Water and sewer get their reports, fire gets theirs. Minimum maintenance standards for roads. Again, if we don't have the report in front of us, we have to rely on the accuracy of our department head and our CAO. So I can't even speak because the former CAO is not here.
I get
So I
that.
don't know if he ever got the report or not.
I get that, but in saying that, without a report, an official report, how can this be put out? Because you're basing it on,
I'm gonna give Councilor Patrick for the question.
I was just gonna say, like, so how many dogs in the last 4 years, like, well, how many are we averaging? Because the last report we have on our end is 2017 and 2018, and that was 9 Bonnechere Valley dogs that we took in at the pound.
ooh, well, I'd have to think about that one, because I know right now I've got 6. I
Mhm,
could have picked up another one on the way.
mhm,
And it's the time right now. I've had 10 and 13 dogs out here at a time.
mhm.
I had 3 call-outs a couple of weeks ago, 3 dogs in one day.
Were they all Bone
One day.
Valley, no?
Pardon?
Were they all Bone Valley? or no?
No, these are
Okay.
tourists
Yeah.
on other situations that have
No, but
happened.
you picked them up in Bone Valley?
No,
No, so you picked them up and.
I
they were our
met
Partners.
one of the officers that brought me a dog, but I mean, it kind of is a hit and miss. It gets up and down, it fluctuates. Like I said, right now, we're in the time of everybody with COVID wanted a dog. And now things are tapering off to some degree. So dogs are coming out of the woodwork. Literally, and big dogs, and they are very hard to move. I can tell you, I've probably gone through 8 different agencies that are in the same boat. Certain dogs, breeds are hard to move right now. Large dogs are hard to move. If I had little dogs, no problem, I'd have them all adopted out right now.
Mhm.
But it's just the time. So I mean, you could have 30 dogs. Easy. You could have 20 dogs.
In our pound?
No, not at once. I wouldn't be able to hold that many.
Well, that's what I'm
just
saying. So like, but
No,
what
so-
are there, like, what
Eight,
records do we
right.
have on your end? To display how many intakes that we have. So when we billing another township, I'm sure there's paperwork.
Yep.
So Tad Moss and Bromley in the last 4 years or
Yes.
Steve, whether
So-
not, like, my question is. How many dogs? Because the last reports we have is, the numbers that we have is 2017, 2018. The average dog for BV was 9 dogs each of those years. That's the numbers that I have. So really it comes down to is that really, like, I've read through your proposals and everything, and really it comes down to it's this, like, service we're providing is staying the same. Like, because we're still picking up dogs, we're still picking up everything. The difference is we just aren't sharing the cost with the ratepayers for actually housing 9 dogs for Bonnechere Valley. And I know that's a different piece. Everything comes down to
Right.
cost, like who ends up paying for the new roof? Or the dog runs, the dog runs aren't obviously up to standard. I understand you don't need them. But the thing is that they get, over time, they get used and abused. And then unless,
That's not relevant. They are no longer there except one for garbage. So right now, we don't even have to put. The building is very solid. It is going nowhere. The roof is excellent. There's no maintenance that needs to be done on it. The only thing that I ever know way back was discussed that we cannot open the side window without it having a screen on it. So I did get the window. And I did purchase paint a little while back, but it's pretty hard to paint a kennel when you have 1 dog, 5 dogs, 3 dogs, back to 5, back and forth. You have to have an empty kennel for at least a week or so to do all that. But there's no real maintenance required on that building. Absolutely zero.
So our runs are going to be up to code and there will be up to code for the foreseeable future, because it was brought to us that with the wood, it wasn't acceptable in the near, because of
That's
contamination.
the outdoor run.
That's what I mean, with the outdoor run.
We
No.
rebuilt them.
So,
No, in fact, I've already hit M&R feet up, waiting for a response. They may donate one or give at a very reasonable cost that they can put their plaque on it, donate it from, whatever. So I know there's them and another person as well. And I mean, again, they're not required. It's like me going out and purchasing dog bones for treats for them. They're gonna live without them. We got the food, but it's just, I don't know their circumstance where they come from, if they're used to this, and I'm trying to make it the best I can for them being out there. So dog runs, yeah, might as well just wash that away. We do not need them.
okay, no, that's all I wanted, because I know there were going to be
Which-
fences, and that was one of the things that was
I was left with
brought
the
to us
impression,
at the table at that
I was left
time.
with the impression myself that the dog run was necessary. And the cedar posts are gonna have to replace with metal ones.
Exactly, we've been told that time and time
This is
again.
Why I had the discussion with Craig at the time when Steve was off, is because I thought there's something not jiving here. They are requesting a slab of either 4-inch, 6-inch, whatever it may be, of concrete, that tapered off at the backside with a drain, steel posting, and I'm thinking, well, that's great, okay, so we put cement down. Dog does its job. We do not have outside taps. We don't have garden hoses. How do you clean this? It made more sense to keep it how we had it. And every year, maybe just change the sand a bit. And we've always had maybe 6 inches of shavings in there. At least you could rake that up. And he said, you're right. So maybe there's something else we can, because that didn't make sense in our case. But we
Right.
never got to that because he ended up retiring. Steve came back and that's when things happened. And yeah, so it's not an issue. It's like I said, the building is very secure and strong and there's absolutely no maintenance. It's vinyl siding. It's got a steel roof. There's no trees that are gonna fall on it. The kennels inside are all steel, like padding kind of stuff on it. And yeah, so that's not an issue. The water's not an issue. The outdoor runs are not an issue. In fact, now I've eliminated the cost of shavings. And I clarified the food is totally donated. So yes, you have my wage, but I mean, nobody else is gonna do anything for nothing either. It is a service, and when I spoke to Brian, Martin, you know, he made it clear to me, several times on the phone that it was a service provided with the intent never to make money, with the intent if we could get the outside municipalities to join, at least some, to cut down on the cost to some degree bonus. But it was never intended to make money. It's
And
no different than the library or the.
We
book
never
store.
thought that it was there to make money. It is a service
Yes.
provided. But the two issues were losing partners and then knowing that there was an inspection coming. And I wish that we had that inspection report 2 months ago.
It wouldn't have mattered, I have to tell you, because the date that I got it. Oh, he's not in here. My supervisor, when we spoke, he had told me that when he was hired 4 months ago, it was pretty much a done deal at that point, the decision made. So that you're going back quite a piece. Because when you started, I started getting my emails and my notifications that the town was gonna be closing, it wouldn't even have been.
It would have
wouldn't
been,
have jived.
it would have been something to revisit at the
So-
time. And my biggest concern, my concern was not necessarily the outdoor runs. Because we did know that the actual animal shelter was in good repair. But when I think, whoa, like, are we gonna have to dig I don't even know what a well costs to dig anymore. That was where I thought, boy, oh boy. Now we're into some major money. And again, I don't know what a well, there are probably people in the gallery that know, or the gentleman at the table, they know, I do not know.
But again, someone could have came to me and said, by the way, Tammy, you were the one running it. Did you happen to see that report?
Did you see that report?
Well, I got it. I asked
No, no,
for
no.
it.
Did you see the one from 2018 or
No.
2017?
No, I'm talking about the recent one.
Okay.
I never got asked. And I'm the only one there. So That's not my fault.
Okay,
Yeah, but anyway, okay, so that clears up that, that's part of that. And then. I wanted to ask, and I don't know if I put this in, but when it comes down to the fines, because I have had a concern on the $100 fine, because this was the bylaw I was given.
mhm.
So there's the rates for charging somebody to pick up their dog, but there's also $100 running at large fine. Now, I know that has slipped through the cracks a few times. Why? I don't know, because it's a bylaw. People should know your dog's running at large and it gets taken in. You don't have just your $20 a day. You have your $100 on top of that. So, I don't know. That's something maybe that has to be relooked at.
I think that was more for outside partners than for Bonachir Valley taxpayers.
Well, why is that?
And it's sort of, I'm not gonna get into the other departments, but there are times where we feel that our ratepayers are paying for this service already.
Okay, I get that,
Yeah.
but also, you're also liable for your dog.
You're
Bottom line.
you're not wrong.
So, that's that.
I guess
And,
the one question I had, Tammy, I guess, is like, so like with the current decision that we're talking about like today anyways.
right,
Us transferring over to SBC for actually housing the dogs and us bringing them there. How does that change your services for ratepayers though? Because we still, like yourself, we go and still pick them up. We have an animal control officer. Because the thing is like, I've got calls and people saying we're reduction of service, but on the day, our services maintains the same. The difference is our costs themselves.
no, I mean, you already know the prices set out. In fact, when we had a meeting, I had asked, before I signed the contract with the township, I asked to see the contract with the SPCA, which I did not see it, so I thought, I'm not signing something until I know what you're signing. And it had to jive. And the thing is, it's not the same. Right now, I mean, yes, I've been told numerous times, do not run it as a 24/7. And I say, excuse me, I will. And it costs you no more. Because I get paid finally after some time, my wage was decided on based on, you're not just sitting on the fence anymore, you're gonna make it worthwhile your job, whether there's a dog there or not at the shelter, okay? So I'm down there several times a day, it doesn't matter. And the thing is, right now, if all I can say is you should read that thing because it does not make sense for the SPCA whatsoever. The service is not the same. I will answer my phone, whether it be 10 at night, 12 at night, midnight, and I have. And this is what people don't know also. I have had calls from police officers late at night, dogs hit on the highway, do not know what to do. I am parked on the shoulder trying to figure out, okay, try to get a vet. They're trying to get a vet. No vets available. None. Our own vet that we use at the Pinnacle, nobody's available. What I hear is, well, ma'am, do you have the background information of the dog or do you have a file? I said, excuse me, this is a dog running at large. I know nothing about. It needs to see a vet. Still, take it to Ottawa. Can you imagine a dog that's been hit on the highway has to get to Ottawa when we've got local vets? So in this last particular incident, I was trying to brainstorm, what can I do? And I thought, oh my God, Dr. Anne Berry's face, she's an angel. I had her personal cell. I called her. She said, that officer, you tell him to get that dog in his vehicle. He's obviously coming back to Killaloe and meet me at my clinic. They stayed there. I got a call at 11:30 at night. The dog went through all kinds of x-rays and different things she had to do to it. Then I got a call within an hour after, and they were still waiting. And the officer spoke to me, said, Tammy, if that dog is not claimed, please put me on the list to adopt that dog first. I thought, great, good man. Call back, the decision was made, the dog had to be put down. So if you're talking about the same services, it is not the same. What you're doing is giving me a position where I'm already doing that job, but right now, my main job with my wage is gone. If the pound is gone, my wage is gone. The care out there is gone. It is going to be a sit on the fence. If you get a call out once a month, if it's that's 2 hours. Who works under that? If you get a call out, you know,
Go ahead,
Just
Chuck.
one question here. I think we have to get established and clarified in this agreement. If you get a call at 8 o'clock at night,
yes.
where does the dog go?
Well,
Currently now you take it to the pound. is there gonna be anybody at SPCA that accept that they
I
sent them?
asked that question to Annette.
Sandy will have a key and a code to the FBCA. She'll have full access to the building.
So
Anytime.
she'll have it, so she can go drop it off.
So basically all we're changing is the location.
That's right.
So,
So you'll have a key to drop the dog off.
no, but that's what this is all
So-
about, right? So we're still providing the same service, and this is what we were told, right? We're still gonna provide the same services to our dog, excuse me. And no comments from the gallery, please. So we are still providing the same service, it's just not in the same location. Correct?
Correct. Well, if you, I mean,
But that's what I was told,
I-
and that's what I'm under the impression of, and that's what I'm making
so
my
what's it gonna
decisions based
cost
on.
people at the end of the day to get their dog out? How much is it gonna cost the township for keeping that dog there? It's $50 a day, plus a larger amount to bring. Right now, we charge,
So you had hit the nail on the head back with the $100 fine, Tammy, as to the individual should be responsible for their pet, right?
as far as the fines, yes.
And that's, so the delivery is well, so when we see the total amounts, and I looked at things as far as with the water as well, and I mean, that's off the table now, but
God, that's off the table.
But that was part of our decision and a big part of it, because if we had to drill it out, right, like, I can only go on what I'm told. And that was one of the big things, and others as well, where we're going to have to include runs, and Merv has heard it here, and I'm as well as the rest of council, that they have to meet a certain code, and it has to be up to this par. And nowhere in governments of past has things relaxed as far as it goes for conditions or things moving along. So I don't think we were wrong in agreeing to, that it was probably gonna get stricter more relaxed as far as it goes for conditions at our animal shelter.
Okay, but I disagree with you. It is not the same. It is not the same at all. You're putting the inconvenience of your people, this township, which you've opened up many years ago, a service provided. All of a sudden it's gone. Everything goes up in price, everything. So I'm looking at this agreement with the, which. I
But we've
never
also
got
lost
to the town.
partners, Tammy.
Yes, you did, but you've also increased the ones that are there. So if you do the math, and there's 6 existing at 400, okay, you can figure that out. So how much are you losing? Now you don't even have the budget to ask for, I mean, here's another thing, the budget. So almost 2 years ago, I was finally, put in the, thank God, I've got a wage now, it makes sense, to everything's good, to then we have a new bylaw officer, which, well, he's gone. Now we got another one, and then all of a sudden, you're gonna lose pretty much your job. Okay? So, I mean, my fight is for my job, yes, and it's also for the voice of those dogs. And I still say this is a service that you put here for, I mean, in this matter, you might as well just shut the library down, shut the arena down and everything else. Well, they're not making any money.
Well,
What
this is-
makes money?
I mean, this has never been about like us profiting or anything, how I look at it is our services staying the same. Our intention is if someone calls and has a dog issue, we're still gonna go in and we're gonna pick up the dog and bring it. The difference is in all location. We're worrying about right now other municipalities, and I'm only one voice at the table, right? But at end of the day, we don't have the bricks and mortars anymore, provide animal shelter. Like that's the difference. Like, should we be in the animal shelter business or not? And the thing is, we found an alternative with the SPCA that's been around for a long time. And that's the thing, our
The
service
outcome
for
is
residents,
different.
our services stay the exact same. And that's why I asked, I said, the numbers were going up 2017, 2018. It's just like, we have nine dogs each of those years. Thing is wow, so who pays the cost when the roof goes? Who pays the cost when you need to actually update the building? Like that's what I'm saying. Everything has a cost. And
But
should our ratepayers be responsible? Like my intention is that I would love to make our service better. So our dog catching animal control better in the sense that, yeah, we want to make sure we're responsive. So maybe we have to find
so
alternatives.
you're talking about your ratepayers. Well, here they are. They were not asked. They don't have a problem
Well, we've been talking about this. If anyone actually watches the budget for the last 4 years, we've actually discussed it at the budget time. It's all public, it's all available. End of the day, we looked at it financially. And the thing is where is the cost end up coming down? Thing is, like, my intention at this table is to make sure that we do maintain our service. Difference is we aren't the brick and mortar store anymore. And I don't think we need to be. The thing is, I think our focus needs to be on the animal control side, not ensuring just housing dogs. People have you have SPCA to go to, you have access to it. Like, end of the day, it doesn't change that access, is eventually there will be more costs. The dog runs were the first to go. What's the next step?
Oh,
There's- I'm just-
Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up now because we are running into our next portion of our meeting. So are there any questions?
Yeah, just one thing, Mr. Chair, if I may. So we do have on the table two options to discuss. The first is that we retain the animal shelter, and I'm not even gonna call it an animal shelter because I know that there are some people in the gallery that would like it to be a cat shelter as well. So I am gonna call it a dog shelter, and we keep control. The other option we have is that we lease the existing shelter to Tammy, and she would cover insurance and the kennel license. We would retain ownership of the building and obviously the land because it's at our Sand Road site.
That was the option B, but
Yes.
preferred is option
I
A.
totally
It
understand that,
exists.
but you've given us
Yeah.
two options, and I think that the press deserves to know, and the gallery deserves to know, the people on YouTube deserve to know that we have been given two separate options to consider. I do agree, Tammy, that you went back and you did exactly as asked. You did your due diligence. I think that what we will do is we will go into closed later on. We cannot negotiate in open. So we will go into closed, and then once we have made a decision, I believe we will let you know, of course, and we will be issuing a press release so that people understand where this council is coming from.
Okay, I just have quickly one last thing to say. And I've been trying to get this out for the last how many years, but nobody seems to listen. In that shelter, the way it's designed, it would not take much. I could probably have it done by someone to do it. Is where the larger part of the building is, you just need to put a door and a very partial wall. Because we have the potential to do 4 boarding kennels there starting off. 4 kennels. You can't keep dogs that are boarded because they're vaccinated with dogs that are at large. But to divide that building, so there'd be 3 doors, it could be done. We could be making some money on this side, transferring it over. You know what I mean? There's that possibility.
Okay, any other
That's all I
questions?
have. Thank you.
Any other questions for Tammy? Thank you very much, Tammy. I appreciate the passion.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Thank you.
Something came up yesterday. I want to talk to you later, so you won't get caught with, but it won't happen till this fall. We'll talk later.
Okay, we got a
That
date.
sounded mysterious.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
No, continuation of a problem that went on last year.
No,
Not with you, nothing to do with you, nothing to do with you.
Then why are you telling her?
Because it may do, but she may get a
Yeah,
call,
just
she may get a call later. I don't want to get in.
Okay, well, after people call her.
thank you very much, Tammy.
Thank you.
I'm going to, is everybody good?
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Darrell in the building?
Tom come in.
You didn't hear something.
Okay. Get Darrell?
I'll get him. There he is. And Jason's out there too.
Good show. Hey, Darrell. Welcome to September.
Yeah. There. Fall's coming.
It is, and it comes fast, eh? Okay, Darrell, you got the floor, chum.
All right. Well, pretty much the same as every other month, other than the last one for my.
Oh, just one second. We have a meeting going on. Hello? Okay, Daryl.
So anyways, we got our audit done, completed, and, we're just answering some of the questions that he has for us, but overall it went pretty good. We got a few more fire hydrants painted, more fire hydrants fixed. Harrington's were in to do some measuring for some 6-inch pipe in that pipe at the plant, which should help us out for next year. We did some painting at the sewage plant, north side pumping station. We removed one bag from the geotubes. And we have 2 more left. That was the one that was in the greenhouse. We have to replace the roof on the greenhouse this year because well, before the people were tearing holes in it, but now it has tear up top. So.
You replace it before winter?
Well, the area had a acidic duct tape on it, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
That
it's
tape
too
is,
late.
fixes everything.
But it's done well. I mean, it's been there since 2009. And they like every 4 or 5 years, so we've got double life out of it.
It's only plastic.
Your friend?
It's only plastic.
It's only plastic.
Yeah,
We've never put one on ourselves, but I think it's gonna be fairly. It's gonna go, you know, I got one of those sky jacks. You know, go up there. Top. So. That's about it.
Any
Yeah, question for you there. I touched base there when we were talking about the water volume that used at the splash pad, and you were saying that you don't know what caused the irregularity yet. Were you able to track anything down? So we have no idea.
No.
and it hasn't happened again.
Yeah, but it doesn't give me any comfort that that
I
hasn't
know.
happened again. So your best synopsis is it was a water main or water hydrant and then water hydrant?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with any of your metering or anything.
No.
That's,
Yeah, I'm just surprised if it was that it was not an abundance of water somewhere that somebody noticed.
Yeah,
Because that would have to run for a considerable amount of time.
well, yeah, I would have to run for at least an hour.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
two, so
that would have been very visible outside of,
we would think so.
yeah,
To put you into that sort of critical
Yeah.
situation that you were in. I'm just, yeah, I don't like when we can't find something that's not explainable.
No, because it might come back and haunt us.
Well,
In the middle of.
chances are,
Yeah.
chances are it will come back.
it's going to come back and haunt
So,
if it's not found.
Well, we're down in dead stocks anyways, right? So. Just have to track it then.
I don't like mysteries like that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
okay.
All righty.
Thank you, Daryl.
thanks, Daryl.
So up next, we have Jason.
There he is.
There he is. He didn't even have to be called too loud.
He's very obedient today.
Good. Welcome to September as well there, Jason.
Thank you. All right.
So, Mr. Chair, there is a piece of correspondence with regard to Tranquility
Yes,
that we should probably deal with Jason as well.
it's the first on the agenda.
It is
so.
too.
So we did get together, we had a meeting with the residents and the ATV and snowmobile club. It went very well. You know, everyone was agreed on everything that was said. It was, you know, it was just a very good meeting. And I think it's something that will go ahead. If, you know, council is in agreement with it. We're gonna still work out some more details, but
Any questions on that?
Well, I'm just,
I read Mr. O'Reilly's submission to us. And hearing Jason, if this is something that you think is appropriate and doable, I think it solves a lot of problems, as long as the ATV and snowmobile club and the residents can work together.
Jack, you had something?
Yeah, just. Who's gonna associate or figure out the cost of this? Because the impression when they came here last time, they were. I had the idea they were coming hat in hand looking for the township to.
Okay, so
So-
what was discussed was that the tracks would be used as the driveway. And the ATV and the snowmobile club would be moving to the
North side.
North side.
Yeah,
So they're gonna have to cross over the driveway at the end to go up the hill, right?
possibly.
Yeah, because the trail goes
Yes.
above, so they'd have to cross.
but they have to now anyway.
No, they don't. They're not even on that now. Because the road goes just the other way. But anyway,
But if they're coming to the
They're gonna come to the hill.
eastern
they
side,
come to the four corners at the bottom of.
yeah.
Yeah, they'll have to come out.
Yeah, go up and go up.
Yeah.
And who's fixing the water, the lower? The trail, who's doing the trail?
The residents will
Residents will.
at their cost.
There would be no cost to it.
No cost.
They want to take it over as a private road.
Well, you're
No,
talking, just talking,
I'm
talking about
talking
the trail.
The
Oh, the
trail
trail.
itself,
Oh,
like, so-
The trail,
yeah, so the,
I'm talking the trail, not.
and that's in the report there, that
Yeah.
the residents would construct a trail, a trail up to standards that the ATV club and the snowmobile club are happy
Correct.
with.
Correct.
And exchange, they would be able to use the road that's existing.
Exactly.
Right.
I think if I remember one part of that report indicate they're looking at buying the trail bed. We don't want to sell one.
No.
No, no. No, no, no,
I think that this solves, and there's nothing to say that that gate might not be closed ever, but I think in the just in case and for emergency services and for our residents that want to live there year round. I really appreciate your time on this file, Jason, and I think that the residents have put forward a very unique proposal to us that I think will probably work if you feel it will work.
There's lots of room on that side, so I don't see a problem with it. The main concern with the snowmobile and ATV club was how to define if the roadway or the tracks were widened out, how to define where the road would be and where the snowmobile and ATVs would go.
It's almost impossible.
That's right.
I know.
They prefer that there be some type of barrier such as trees.
And where I've run into it in the past, in Greater Madawaska, I do a lot of hauling. And the snowmobile club uses the side of the township road, and sometimes the groomer thinks that the road, right, is part of the trail. And next thing you know, you're left with no road and all snowmobile trail, and it does get, these guys are volunteers and they're not whatever. But it can get confusing, and I like this outcome a whole lot better now, with them being a divorced road and it definitely is the more logical way to do it,
So we,
and a lot more safer for sure.
so the snowmobile trail is getting approval then from the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Trails, right?
Yes.
Because they're gonna need that. They can't just give it on their own, and if the president steps aside, then they're
That's
gonna be.
Yeah.
They're
So-
gonna be in trouble, so it has to go, it has to, like, that's not your job to ensure that, but I think that's our job to make sure that's done before we.
You don't have to update standards.
Well,
Or
no,
not,
it has to be,
no,
blessed-
that's
it has to
it.
be blessed by them,
Well, if I say, yeah.
so, I just,
Great.
Because I know the president's come and go on the snowmobile trails, so.
All right, so what do you need from council?
So we just need some direction for staff, that if staff can move forward with with the property owners for our property, so we can
Yes.
move forward with developing the trail on our property under Jason's supervision, and of course, working with the two groups to make sure, because I think the biggest issue was the groomer, right? That would be the heaviest, biggest vehicle that would go in, so whatever they need. So having us work with the residents for that. Then we would also need staff direction to be able to move forward with some sort of legal access agreement, so that the property owners would have access through the rail bed through a legal agreement, and of course, they would agree to maintain it and put signs up so that people will know that it's, you know, use at your own risk, it's not maintained by the municipality. And then, of course, proper signage for the trail, whether that's done by the clubs or the residents there. So we just need staff direction to be able to go forward, work with the residents, work with the clubs, and make that happen.
Can we do this by resolution this evening?
We can, if you'd like. I think staff direction can be done at a committee level.
Are you guys comfortable with that?
This would allow it to be like Four Seasons home rather than
Yes.
just
Yes.
water, right? Yeah, which is a huge benefit to everyone there.
Yes, turning the rail bed into an actual,
Access
privately
road, yeah.
maintained access road would have to be done by bylaw through an agreement. So that couldn't be done today, but if we can receive staff direction to move forward to get us to that point, we'd come back to council with, an agreement and a bylaw, and if council, approved that, then that would make it, that would then happen.
Jack?
I'm just concerned of us designating, so what is the goal here, to designate this rail bed as a private road?
So it wouldn't be a private
I
road,
know.
it'd be very similar to the access agreements that we sign with an unopened road allowance, where they're coming off a maintained road. And they have the access agreement that they can use it for access. It still has to be open to the public. You can't quote, like, you can't gate it and have it only be open to them. It is going to be open to everyone, but they will be responsible for maintaining it and for ensuring it and all of those things. So, and for signing it so that people know that's similar to the other access agreements that we have done. It would be very similar to that, but it would still, the property would still remain to us, remain in our, and what happens normally is it's registered to one property owner usually. This is kind of different. And when it's registered to that one property owner, if that property owner ever sells that property, the agreement dies, right? It has to be redone with the new person. So in this instance, it would be the association that they have created. So if that association ever
Dissolves.
collapsed and
Yeah.
those people were no longer, you know, funding the maintenance and working together, and that wasn't happening, then the agreement would lapse as well.
Okay,
And the liability goes to the association?
Yes, so they would have to ensure that, yep,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm just, like, if somebody.
Yep.
Because I just foresee snowmobile still taking that road, and I
Yes.
just want to see where the liability is
Yes.
gonna fall.
yes, I mean, very.
Because you get people that come
Mhm.
up here once a year on their trips, and they're used to flying down that road, and they come in the middle of the night, and that's what you're gonna, I'm just,
No,
I just wanna cover the basis for liability or whatever.
signage will be very, very important for
Yeah,
sure.
liability.
And at the end of the day, unless, and that's where the selling comes in. If we want no liability, we would have to sell it. If you're going to continue to own it and sign a maintenance and access agreement, then yes, they will have to ensure they will have some liability. But at the end of the day, we still own it.
Yeah.
So we are not complete. We are, you know, it's much the same as if someone fixes up an unopened road allowance and is using it as their driveway, but it's also public. They may have insurance, they may be maintaining, they may say use at your own risk. We do everything we can to mitigate risk, but if something happens on township property, guaranteed we are going to be named, regardless of what agreements we have and whatever else is there, for sure. The only way to guarantee zero liability would be to actually close it themselves. So I would need just direction. Can we move forward with this, or do you want us to move forward with this and come back with another report with more details? What would you like staff to do?
I'd like to move forward with more details, because I'm not 100% sure they're gonna get a trail in place by the snowmobile season. Unless
No,
they're,
and I think Jack, it's for next year.
okay, so it's not gonna happen for this year.
No.
Okay. Because the time is pretty short,
That's-
even though it's only a kilometer, for you to poke a trail and then make it level and make it. Cause that bank is, I've driven it, that bank, you're not gonna be able to just do it with a dozer walking down there, you're gonna have to pack it and.
But I
the
think,
float falls away towards the water.
I think that the association understood. The sort of bad timing of this, just coming into snowmobile season. So we'll have to work with them.
So committee's direction is that staff can go ahead and work with the residents association and the two groups. However, we're not looking for it to happen through this. We're looking to get through this snowmobile season as is. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's probably the most practical way because it's not gonna happen this year regardless, right? Or there wouldn't be enough time from now to then.
I'm not sure.
Well, it's not really our
No,
our call, right?
no,
Jason's just the one supervising no different than
That's
other
right.
projects. So like realistically, it's either a yes or a no. And if we're good with moving forward, we shouldn't really ask for it. Like, we're either gonna lease it or we're gonna sell it, but I think we should just end up leasing it back and then eventually we could sell it down the road, but I'm fine just seeing it.
I
If we get it done this year, that's great. It means we have more people living in the area full time, foreign businesses, but
So
Have
work
fun.
towards getting the legal documents and everything together this winter, and then the actual construction of the trail would happen next spring. That's what I'm hearing.
I think that's the time of the association. And I know Mr. Chair, Mr. O'Reilly is in the gallery. Barry, if you could just nod your head or shake your head for me, please. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Is there any other information that you wanted us to collect and bring back?
good with that, Murph? You good with it? Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
Okay, our New Holland tractor, we just received it back from the second breakdown on Friday, so the tractor is up and running. And we will go from there.
Have you got the new mower yet?
Yes, it arrived also today.
says the time to use it as a
Yeah, I was
snowblower.
gonna say,
So I believe they have to send a service tech down to hook it up and make sure it's doing what it's right to do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
oh, look at this, they got what they wanted, they're all leaving.
Everybody's on the way out there. We'll let them out there. Departure and get back to the meeting. Okay, Jason.
Right. There's another piece of surplus equipment that I would like to get rid of. It's the 09, sorry, that's a mistake. That should be 0901. Yellow cord half ton. It's been hurt and I think it's time to get rid of it.
Is there any, I know that happened with Tammy using for the town, or any of our happened, I noticed. Daryl had one too, I was gonna ask them, are any of them in better shape than their truck? 'Cause their truck's in real bad shape.
Oh, God, one of them's gotta be in better shape than her truck.
Only Freddie Flintstones.
Oh, what about even Daryl?
I know.
Well,
I don't know about Daryl's truck. I think the floor was bad in it also. Now, the new rec truck is in.
Oh, so we can,
we're thinking of Kevin's little blue truck.
Yeah,
For-
yeah, that one was
Oh.
going to go to Tammy, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Is there, that's just a bench seat, right?
No, it's
It's
an
a,
extra cab.
there's a cab,
That's a good-
so what we just do is put a cage in it.
In the back of
Well-
the cab or in the
I'm
box.
not talking the box because legally we're not supposed to transport dogs in the winter in the back of the cages. And that's, I wish I would have had more time. I was on a roll with kids because I did have other things to mention. And the safety, my safety, with that truck, I mean, there's not too many lights that aren't flashing on it. For starters, the back doors do not open. I cannot put dogs in the back. They have to sit beside me. I've had Pyrenees where I've had to guard my face, guard the gear shift, and have to turn around from the appointment to get them at because there's no way I can do it. Yes, so,
Well, anyways,
We're gonna have to
We have to-
figure out the
Yeah.
round robin of vehicles.
So Tammy, if there was a cap put on.
Well, here's the thing. I can't lift big dogs in cages by myself in the back. When winter comes, we can't transport them in the back. We're not supposed to in the back of the truck. We can't cover, but we'll.
Yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
anyways, No, I've just seen all these surplus vehicles and I know the vehicle she had.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even ask Daryl because I knew that Daryl had said previously that the floor was, I guess, is that some of the chemicals?
Yeah, so if anybody in Bonisher Valley is wondering why there's so many new half tons running around, it's because we absolutely need them. If anybody
Exactly.
wants to call me again and ask me, why
I
did I
know.
see another vehicle and did I see another vehicle? It's because there's a lot of stuff out there that has to be replaced.
Oh, yeah, no, they're not safe anymore.
Well, and
Exactly right.
they're not just daily drivers. These guys aren't driving to their place of work and then driving home. You're all over the township.
So, anyway.
Go ahead, sorry.
I'll skip number 4. Snow dipper site. The weekly opening is closed as of now. They want to be open on Saturdays.
Okay.
The grinding has been completed. We have everything covered. So if MOE comes in and does an inspection, we are to where we should be on that site. The footings on the new sand shed have been poured. First pour of the 8th as well have been poured. They've been stripped today. We have to do some filling around the footings tomorrow. And they will then be putting the rest of the 4-foot walls up for hopefully late this week or early next.
Perfect weather for that.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
So, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I had another concern again about Richards Lane, the
Yes,
signage. And is there any way? So we can put the sign, I mean, the way it is there, it kind of shows Richards Lane goes right to the lake rather than does a 90-degree turn.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can change that sign pointing down the
So-
road that's parallel with the lake, not into the lake?
yes. So what? With the county mapping, it shows Richard Lane does go straight ahead.
And
But
logically, it would.
Yes, Richards Lane, private, goes to the right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, my suggestion months ago when this came up was could we have a Richards Lane sign with the 911 numbers, like number 43 to 101 is that way?
that or, put a
What
Richards
about
Lane
the sign?
private.
Well,
But that doesn't help emergency. vehicles.
No.
No, that's-
I think,
It doesn't help emergency vehicles.
but doesn't that make sense? You've got Richards Lane and then below have, these are the numbers this way, these are the numbers this way.
You'd have to
But-
have
but-
2 Richards. lanes.
Yeah,
What it seems to be happening there, the last Richards Lane sign almost directs you to go straight ahead to the lake. Rather than what about putting it on the other side of the road, that it directs you doing a 90-degree turn?
but Richards Lane, Merv does go straight ahead.
Yeah,
yeah.
it does
Well,
go
but
straight.
then maybe they should name that other road there that's,
It should be something else.
It used to be called McPherson's Lane, wasn't
Well, McPherson is up off.
it? Yeah, but it was supposed to come all the way around.
Yeah,
That's,
Oh,
that
no.
was, that was the intent of
okay,
that. That road off of Huffman's is supposed to come all the way around and join Richards.
Right.
That's what the intent of that was.
And
And
never
because it got stopped on the, up on the top end,
right,
instead of calling it, they then decided to call it Richards Lane.
okay,
But ideally, it was supposed to come in off Huffman's, come around, cut into Richards Lane, and Richards Lane goes straight by.
Right.
That's what is supposed to be done.
So
Because
maybe
I
we just
believe
give
one of the
Jason
guys up
time
there-
for a month and just
I-
come back at
I-
the next meeting, it's not a huge priority.
No, but I just
Okay,
think,
so renaming a road also requires our residents to change their driver's license, everything. There's a lot to change.
I think the
think-
numbers this way and that way is probably a good,
Isn't that the easiest
I
way
think
to
it's
go?
a good suggestion.
because there is, I believe, one new residence. House going in there.
there's a couple.
Okay,
yes,
Yeah.
that's.
So-
that to me is the
One
easiest.
question. What is the address on Woody's address? Is it Richards Lane or McPherson Drive on his driver's license?
I think it's Richard Lane because that's a private lane.
Okay,
His mailbox is all Richard's Lane because that was a private lane going up there.
private road.
Just like if I had a private road and you have a private road.
Yeah,
You,
that's
you
right.
don't put that on your address
Yeah.
because the mailman doesn't come there. It
Yeah.
only goes to the government. roads.
Okay,
Yeah.
so,
That's
but
what it is.
We'll just have to put the numbers on.
put the numbers on
Yeah.
and sort of.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
Work.
yes, and I told the occupant of complaining, would you have any objection if we put a private sign right in their driveway. Put a private sign that they don't turn up their lane and go up their house.
Yeah, I think where the issue was with contractors.
Yeah,
Hauling material.
because going this way and
Yeah.
that way, because coyotes keep going up
That's-
and then the rest of them going. One other question, I touched base with you, Jason, a while ago about this, gentleman that wanted to know about, traffic sign number at Lake Clear Road from Whitkey Road. He's contacted me again and said it was 40. You have no evidence of it ever being 40, you know that, right?
No, and because we have a book with all our road names, that's when I
Yeah.
took a picture of.
Yeah.
And as far as I believe, it was always a 60K.
I'll send him back in, because he says it's previously 40. And I said, I don't see any reason why Whitkey Road would be 40, especially off of Lake Claire.
No, that's right.
Because there's no houses there until you get maybe the private lane, the private road off of Whitkey could be 40,
Maybe.
but that's not
No.
signed by us anyway. So, but the road itself,
That's right.
I think we can ask Dana, but I think when you're entering the private portion of Whitby, it does,
say 40.
we'd have to, Dana would know for sure.
Well, this gentleman lives off of, where does he live? I don't know. I think it's a private road just before, is it Birch Lane or something?
Birch Bay,
Something like
Birch
that,
Bay.
yes.
Birch Bay, yeah.
I think that's where he lives. But anyways, so I'll notify him again and say, no, there's no history of it ever being 40. Okay, thank you.
Whereabouts is our state sign?
I used
It
just
is
now.
on Spring Creek.
It's on Spring Creek.
That's
I've had requests from an individual on Wetland Road to see if we can get it back there without the high speed sign put on the top, your max speed. So if we just left the actual sign off and used it for gathering data, I think that would be a little more crucial in some decisions going forward.
We can actually set that up that it does not display.
That's what I'm
Perfect.
saying. To not display.
Yes,
Just put it up there on the side of the road, and this way we can get real time info.
I think what we're experiencing, much like the Hamlet of Floymount, is that we have a lot of young families on Wetland. And the kids are out playing and they're enjoying that dead end road. I don't know why people are using it as a highway. It doesn't go, it doesn't go anywhere.
Google tells you to go there.
So
Yeah.
Google tells you to go.
so I was actually just gonna bring that up there. No problem, Pat. Yeah. So when I leave my house, and I don't know, is there a way, and I was gonna ask an applicant and yourself, when I leave my house and I wanna go, say, to Toronto, it tells me to turn right at the end of my driveway, go down Brohart Road, and
Oh,
come out on Wetland all the time. And I believe that's where a lot of confusion, a lot of our speeding activity is coming from, is from people that are getting directed from their GPS to go that, and it's not a through road. You cannot drive from Brohart Road through Wetland.
So-
So is there someone we can get a hold of at,
and
I don't know, is there anybody or how, is there a way to solve that
I
issue? Because I
can
believe
answer
that's
this.
becoming,
because Brohart has been fixed, so Earl.
but you can't get through Earl's.
No, but I believe, and Dana just walked that way. Dana has dealt with another road such as this and told Google Maps, don't send people down this road.
Yeah,
So I did not realize, thank you, Pat, that is
there, it's there.
okay. So could we please get in touch with Google Maps
yeah,
and ask them, tell them Wetland Road is a dead end road.
absolutely.
Because somebody will go down the road and they can't get around, so
And
then they'll
fly
just.
back.
That's
Why-
Yeah,
right.
wide open and go. right? So-
Yes, okay.
I know nothing from the peanut gallery, but when you put the 80-kilometer sign on top of that, the people that don't know the road, they think it's 80 and they go. The residents don't go 60, they go 60. And you got
Okay.
that recording.
Well, Dana,
Don't put that 80.
No,
so
no, that's
we're
already
just
been requested.
talking about Wetland Road. Can you do your magic with Google Maps
I did already.
with Wetland?
No, with.
No, you did Brohart.
Did Brohart.
Brohart and wetland, but it's the same,
Wetland,
it's
yeah.
one and the same, right?
They'd have to put
That's
wetland.
what they're sending.
No, but I think all they did was they took Brohart out, but I don't think they took wetland out is what I'm hearing.
No,
They can't take wetland, it is a road.
they have to put
But
it.
it's
as-
No, but as a
Yeah, yeah.
destination through.
They can't put it as- they can't take it out. They have to get it.
No, but what I'm saying is, when I punch it in, it wants to send me down Brohart, so I'm sure
Right.
they're bringing them through wetland as the place to go.
Okay, so what? Oh,
Go ahead, Dana.
It's okay.
do,
Annette can talk to you about it later. Thank you,
Yeah,
Dana.
thanks.
Yeah,
Dana.
Dana,
Is there a 40 km sign when you
Oh.
go onto the private property off or onto your private road?
there's
There
40
you go.
kilometers there,
Just when you see the private road sign.
yeah, but there's nothing up above this.
No.
I'm getting complaints that they want all of Wiki 40. It's never been 40.
no, it's only at the start of the private one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So is there anything else for Jason? Sorry about the extra. Hey, that's what we're here for.
Yes.
Well,
And you'll be back.
What time you want?
We're closed.
Yeah.
I don't know, we've got to move this along though.
Yes, we're almost still over at Dave's, so are you
I can give you time.
20 minutes? I think we should be good for 20, can we be good for 20 minutes or so? Thanks, Jason.
Can we have 5 minutes though?
So 25 minutes?
Now I'm bursting.
Yeah, okay, we're gonna pause for a 5-minute break. Sounds
Thank
okay?
you, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have Dave available there?
We
Anna?
do.
Okay, we're back live on YouTube as we speak.
We are.
You know,
And he
well,
was there. He's there. Now it's just the video's there again.
Sorry, the phones are ringing.
no problem. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you.
You have the floor.
All right, so first off, as you can see in our report, our calls report, our numbers were way down in August. 0 fires. I was very afraid of August. It was very hot and very dry, and I have to commend, you know, the residents of Bronishire Valley for their vigilance and being fire safe during that hot and dry weather, because we've had other months like that where we've been, you know, the departments run steady on grass fires and bush fires. So that was a pleasant surprise that we didn't have to go out in that heat and dryness. So that was great. So I've got 3, I know I wrote in there, I have 3 new recruits right now that are going through the process. 2 of them actually have pre-service fire. So they already have some of the education required moving forward with the certification. So happy to see that these people coming out of college are looking, you know, to get onto a department like ours, to be able to get some experience and that kind of stuff. So happy about that. Our dealer training with our new e-draw, the heavy extrication equipment has taken place. So we now have that new gear in service. And within the next few weeks, we're going to be doing a joint training, the entire department, so that everybody's familiar with the new equipment. That'll be happening soon. The Ontario grant for firefighter certification, I sent the attachment to council, and it simply states that, you know, we're potentially eligible to receive some of the grant money, depending on the case we make for getting it. So if we need financial help with textbooks or with online things like maybe even laptops and whatnot, that kind of stuff, anything to get us towards certification and the burden hopefully be a little bit less for the municipality. They did say in the original email that we were going to see some new information in the weeks to come. Well, I haven't seen anything yet, and that was sent to us in August 8th. So it's been almost a month, and I haven't had a follow-up email from the OFM yet. So hopefully that'll come soon, and we can get the ball rolling with applying for this grant money to help us out in the future. I don't know if anybody has any questions about that. To me, I don't know if they're going to base it. If they're based it like the last grant that we had, where they based it on size of department, or they based it on population or whatnot. I'm not sure what their metric is for that. So, but we'll certainly put a case for, you know, some grant money moving forward. Also, the last thing for me this month is just a reminder as well of our open house this coming Saturday at the municipal office at Station 1 from 11 till 2. We'll have quite a bit of stuff on the go there and demonstrations and whatnot, and it should be a good few hours for people to stop in and see what we're all about, and hopefully we'll get some interest from some of the local people that may have been thinking about it, and maybe this would be kind of their catalyst to apply to the department and build up our numbers a little bit. But that's it for me. Like I said, we've had a kind of a slow month. Not been slow on the prevention and the training side and whatnot, but I don't have a problem with it being slow on the fire response side. That's good for me.
Except for May and July, you would have a good year.
Pardon me?
Except for May and July, you would have had a really good year.
Absolutely, for sure.
I
Yeah.
know.
I just touched wood for September. That's okay.
Thanks,
Okay.
Dave. I appreciate that. Any questions for Dave?
Oh, I just, one comment, I'm also addressing fire certification in my mayor's report from AMO. And everybody saw that piece of correspondence was very vague. So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna move along to correspondence. Correspondence A. One, anybody, Cunningham, with the Cunningham Swan Legal Seminar. Single Area Community Development Group, thank you to staff, which was really nice, that was good to see. Bonus Reunion Public Libraries, thank you to everyone as well, that was great to see. Anybody have any discussion on those three items? Okay, moving on to correspondence B.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna skip over that unless anybody else wants to talk about this, but town of Soap Creek Peninsula. Anything on that? No?
There was a request to use the old fire hall for 2023 book sale, just so they can slot the date in for next year. It was successful for a library. They actually raised a significant amount of funds compared to last year as well. So the request was just to be able to do it there again, just like this year.
I see no
So-
problem myself, no.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, number 3.
so I think that perhaps Annette, if you could respond to Ms. Jackson regarding the cats. Lisa Belair does have her cat rescue up just on the border of Montshire Valley and North Laguna Wilberforce, and I know that she's had quite a bit of success, and I understand more and more that cats are becoming not a problem, but where people are saying, well, we have a dog shelter, why don't we have a cat shelter? So, but we do have somebody locally that is willing to help out with the cats.
So,
You don't want to catch cats, right?
I have caught cats. This is off duty. I've done a lot with cats to help people.
so we're gonna move along to,
Don't dump them off in my gate.
Merry Christmas.
we've already dealt with I don't think there's anything up until, number 10 yet. Everything is good. We dealt with the Tranquility Bay Association.
Which one?
The Cormac Road request.
Cormac Road request would be
So-
the next one that's coming up here.
Yeah, apparently Jason,
Number
oh,
11.
sorry, you're right, that was 11.
I wanna back up to 10, Ontario contract renewal.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep, I see what the,
Yeah, so, the question I have with that, a while ago, we were supposed to be changing this over. Remember, Sandra, about a year or so,
More than that.
or 2 years, we were trying to amalgamate 6 or 7, I think there's 7 townships.
In the detachment,
in the
yes.
Attachment to one. So I know there was some direction given, but as far as that, I have no idea where that's at.
Nobody seems to, Jeff, and people were talking about it at the AMO conference. Nobody seems to know.
So did it just fall through the cracks, or
I-
like, if we're in the process of that, why would we entertain the agreement
Well,
that's
but
expiring?
what is said at the end of the request is that if it does go through,
Yeah,
then we will be rolled into the detachment PSV.
well,
I
yeah,
know,
it's like, so I'm just, I guess the question I have is where do we want to go with this?
I would like to retain our PSV until such time that
At
we
such
are,
time,
yes,
so you just.
I mean, we
So
made a
what you want-
decision.
It's just extended for a year to, like, or what, or renewal of a term of 3, 4, 5, 6 years or what?
I don't know.
And we need a bylaw is required, right? So let's wait.
Yeah, once we have the contract, but she just wants,
Yeah.
before they draw up the contract, I just need direction so that I can get
Yeah.
back to them and say, committee has directed me to ask you to go ahead and draw up a contract for 1, 2, 3, 4,
I would
5
go
years.
to-
And then that contract would come forward through bylaw with council meeting. Yeah.
Well, that's what that's why I wanted to ask, where do we stand? How many years do you want to go forward with this?
I would say with the dragging of the feet from the Solgen's office, I would go 2 years.
2 years?
That would be my recommendation.
Because I've seen absolutely nothing. There's a whole lot of chatter at the start.
Yeah,
Some of the pointies of who was going to be this and that and secretary and stuff. But then it just went,
I know.
and it fell on the face of it. And whatever they were doing could be done no matter COVID or not. So I don't understand why it just fell dead.
I don't have it. But it would be my recommendation to this committee that we do sign on. so that we retain our police services board as it is.
That direction, okay, with 2 years, I'll let her know 2 years.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you, guys.
Good.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So, on to the Carmack Road request, and, as long as that's okay with our road super.
Yes, Jason has no concerns with that. It is a maintained township road. It just happens to be a forced road that couldn't go on the allowance, so it's through their property. And so they have applied for a severance of the county, but before they have to clean that up before they
Yeah.
can sever. So, if Jason had no concerns, if council has no concerns, then I'll get back to her and let her know that they can move ahead. We will accept title of it, but all the costs, surveying, transferring, all
On to
of
her.
that's on the street here.
Okay. Pretty good with that?
And that will come forward, of course, as a bylaw.
Yes.
So moving along,
So unfortunately, the initial Affordable Housing Alliance meeting was in Killaloe, and somehow Annette and I did not receive our invitations. We don't know what happened. It wasn't in error. They didn't leave us out on purpose. So what they're asking is, do we have space for them to facilitate a meeting of the Affordable Housing Alliance? And basically what I responded to Ish was that we would bring it to committee and that he and Annette could work out the details of facilitating this meeting. Obviously, we know affordable housing right now we're in crisis.
Yeah.
So I think that this is definitely something that we should be a part of.
Yeah.
If everybody's okay with that,
So
thank
we have
you.
2 dates for the Eagles Nest, Tuesday, the 27th, and Wednesday, October 5th. So I can send that out to council. Just let me know which day works best for you, and I'll get back to you and move forward on it.
and the 27th is
Tuesday.
and, what time frame are you looking at now?
So it'd be in the evening.
Oh, perfect.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along, punch ahead to the Tour de Bon Fair. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank you. And, petition to maintain current pound and animal control
and
services,
we've got the petition.
We have
were
it.
given- Yep.
and on to the last item. Request an in-demand show.
I'm totally in favor of this. I think that guy started Music in the Park years ago.
Yeah.
Even when he said I'm stepping back, I'm sort of retiring from it, he still had a hand in it. And I think it would be a lovely, lovely tribute to such an amazing man. His funeral on Sunday was quite something, and the crew that gathered at the Legion, you've never seen so many people at the Legion. It was really something, and I think that this is a lovely request. It was not made by the family. It was made by a family friend, and I think that we should give serious consideration.
So I'm in favor of giving it serious consideration. What I don't know, because I was not involved with a lot of things, is to make sure that the initiation and that was solely started by Guy with the music in the park. And I'd say that there wasn't one or two others that were helping and leaving them out in the, coming forward of it. I know he was very active, and I just don't want to exclude anybody else in this equation if that's possible, because I have, and if anybody here can give me the insight on that.
It was his idea.
Okay.
Obviously, he had his tentacles in all things music around the county and was able to bring in different musical acts every week or twice a week. But it was in fact started by Guy with a few wonderful volunteers, but it was his brainchild.
No, I'm good with it.
So I think if everybody's okay, I think if we give staff direction to Annette, I would like to know exactly what the family would like it to be called. Do they want it named the Guy
Guy
Jameson
Jamison
Band Shell? Do they want it the Guy Jameson Stage? I think that would be a lovely thing to ask for the families input into.
That sounds good.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Mhm.
Appreciate it.
Okay, moving along. How many minutes today?
Oh, well,
Go on, Mayor. We've got others coming in.
since my last report, I attended 23 meetings, the AMO conference, that was 4 days, and several events. The Montessori Youth Action Committee met in subgroups to plan for the fall. The scavenger hunt will take place on Saturday, September 24th at 1 o'clock in Centennial Park. Notification of this event will be sent to the schools this week. Thanks to Dana for facilitating that. The youth archery program in partnership with the Eatonville and District Sportsman's Club begins tomorrow at 5:30, which is very exciting. The after-school learning sessions, thanks to council for allowing these at the youth center, will start September 21st at the youth center in Legion Field. Programming to begin with will include managing finances and how to start a business. More programming will be added as the year goes on. These programs are geared towards our teenage groups. So going with that sort of 14 to 18-year-old. The Truth and Reconciliation Garden official opening will take place on October 1st at 1 o'clock. Planning is underway to include our First Nation neighbors. A huge thank you to Sherry Miller and her gardening crew and to John Kirkwheeler for the new bench. It's a lovely addition to the garden. Eastern Ontario Regional Network has onboarded our new CEO, Jason St. Pierre. To date, Rogers has done uplifts that are in service as of July 2022, 216, and 10 new co-locations as of July 2022. So they are moving ahead very quickly. Of course, duty to consult is a very important part of the new builds. The Ontario Winter Games is coming along very well. The dates are again February 2nd to 5th and 9th to 12th, 2023. Our Ontario Winter Games merchandise is now available for purchase at renfrewcounty2023.ca. The Curling Club renovations to ensure accessible access should be starting today. We are so thankful for the grants received to rehabilitate this building in our partnership with the Curling Club group. The Eatonville and Area Community Development Group is very excited that the fishing dock and fence are now done. Obviously, you saw their thank you. The dock has been in constant use, and last weekend I actually witnessed people doing family photographs on it. So I thought that was such a nice second use for it. I met with Chad Patrick from PFT Construction with regard to the new builds at the old convent and the old school properties. He advised that pending his public meeting this afternoon, his hope is that the construction of 78 Queen Street's 60 units will begin on October 10th. Mr. Patrick also indicated that he would like to have the foundation poured at 68 Queen Street in October. This project will be 20 apartments to be completed in 2023. He also indicated that his company is working on the environmental assessment, site plan, and the rezoning at the Creamery site. PFT has also purchased the 14-acre site beside Legion Field. This site will also be serviced on our water and sewer system. The western portion of 512 should be started very soon. The challenges with property owners have been resolved, and Bell and Hydro are working very diligently on relocations. The tax increases across the county were part of our finance and administration report, and the county council. BV had the 5th lowest tax increase for 2022 out of all 17 municipalities. So that was good budgeting. County CAO Paul Morrow officially retired on August 31st, and our new CAO Craig Kelly has hit the ground running. Paul's send-off was wonderful and included a really fantastic goodbye video. Annette was joining us, but she got relegated to the downstairs. We're not sure what happened there. We also had the opening of the County Truth and Reconciliation Garden. This was a beautiful event. A woman named Amy Bailey spoke to the 7 grandmother pillars, which are part of the garden. They're as big as me. They include love, bravery, truth, honesty, humility, respect, and wisdom. And if you are up near the county building, please take a moment and go and see it. It's fantastic. The AMO conference was held in person for the first time since 2019. It was very well attended and the plenaries were exceptional. There were a few geared specifically for women in politics, but Annette and I had to leave after everyone because we had delegations. We had 3 delegations. We met with Minister Michael DeBolo, Associate Minister for Mental and Health and Addictions. We revisited our grassroots movement in partnership with Connect Well, West Champlain Public Health Team, and the Phoenix Center. The ask is for approximately 900,000 to hire more therapists, but no bricks and mortar since we have space in our 2 clinics to accommodate. Annette sent out an email to Minister DeBolo's Chief of Secretary, or Secretary, no, Chief
Chief of Staff.
and we are waiting to hear back from her. We met with Parliamentary Assistant Stephen Crawford from the Ministry of Finance with regards to the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. It is confirmed that this fund will continue into 2023. This fund is crucial to our budget pressures, especially post-pandemic. We also met with Parliamentary Assistant Anand from the Ministry of Labor with regard to the shortage of DZ licensed drivers in our private sector as well as our municipality. Since the overarching theme of labor shortage with education and healthcare, we thought we would shine a light on another sector that is in serious need, especially post-pandemic. PA and Nonstop gave us some avenues to look at boosting this sector, and that will be following up with these. Just this morning, Minister McNaughton staff reached out for a meeting with myself and Annette next week to discuss immigration employment opportunities in this sector. And in fact, we just got an email from Ben, so I look forward to that meeting next week. The UN board met with PA Sandu from the Ministry of Infrastructure to advise on our progress with duty to consult our First Nations and to remind the ministry of the importance of our partnership with the province on our Selgat project and the need for broadband infrastructure. At the Ministers Forum, I asked the Solicitor General, Michael Kersner, about the deadlines for firefighter certification. I also attended a plenary on this subject. Although it appears on the surface that we will be okay for the near future, there is still the unknown about recruitment and retention at a later date. And again, the grant funding letter was very vague. And I also had a delegation scheduled with Hydro One during the EMO conference, but we were not able to meet. To that end, we met on August 25th with Hydro and IV Charging Network. The IV presentation is in your package for discussion. And Mr. Chair, if I may, I think that discussion should be put over to the following meeting because there is a lot of information to absorb, and I think that we need a fulsome discussion on it.
I agree with that.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
He didn't even stop for a drink.
Listen, that it was a crazy month and a half.
I think Spooky down at the,
Well, did you see there's, we started the water drawdown in Round Lake started. Started there over the last week and a half, 2 logs have been removed, so we're starting to see a little bit of water increase. Nothing really significant. I guess the other thing we have to, we are still in consultation. We're trying to get a new EGC contract. They've sent us a spreadsheets. I had consultation with the Ottawa water producers that were a part of the committee of. There's quite a few of the current contractors are going to be in bad, and contracts are going to be in a bad way. They follow through with this the way it is.
Okay.
Like, yeah. I'll touch more on once we have our next EGC meeting, but it's, they're basically proposing that they're gonna pay $89. That's their proposal, $89 per megawatt. Right now, our contract is 122.
Oh, I thought it was 114. Okay,
No.
that's
122. There's some producers that are in a lot worse shape than that. Anybody that's done, any plant that's basically done any upgrades, they were benefited to a new contract, and they're, yeah. We'll talk more.
We'll do that.
because I'd love to see that spreadsheet for
Yeah.
EGC meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll send you guys a spreadsheet. It's very, very complicated, very.
So when we're on that, do we want to do a EGC on our next council
On the
meeting?
20th,
Yeah, we can.
let's do that.
We can do it on.
Do you want to 2 o'clock, 2:30,
Actually, it would be better after the council if that's
whatever
okay.
you want?
We can have it in the evening.
Yep.
because it's not
Council,
tying up staff time and we're here already.
after council or after, or
After-
even after,
We'd be tying up Connie.
Committee,
committee.
so, well, pending Tony's,
Whatever timing on, because it's, if we're going to go over the spreadsheet, it's going to take some.
It's gonna take some time, okay.
And like I said, I'm working with, they're trying, they've had more meetings with ISO and. I'm not gonna get into the details right now until
oh,
we have our meeting. but-
Okay.
But just to bring you abreast, it's, our good news is our contract isn't due until 2027. So we have
Some time,
we have some time.
but you still wanna get ahead of it.
it's-
Well, that's the thing, right? Because it is going to impact any of your work, anything that you're planning on.
Right,
If you're taking like a significant 30% cut in your revenue, you know, if we're talking, it's gonna impact everything.
yeah, it is.
So. And yeah, there's some power companies that are in a lot worse shape than that. So anyways,
okay,
that's about it. Like I said, it's because of our new gates in there, we still haven't done plant maintenance, but I can schedule that around more Will's time. We don't have to do it in more water now. Because we don't have 3 units running, so we can basically seal off the unit completely and do the maintenance and then switch to another unit. So it's a lot more, it's safe and it's a lot more efficient that way than trying to jam something in more water.
okay.
Yeah.
So, the rest are just resolutions by the look of it, other than the IV.
Yes,
So,
What-
if there's no questions on the tax adjustment statement,
No,
okay?
but if you could move number 8 to our next meeting,
Yes,
please.
that's
Thank
fine.
you.
And then the recreation agreement,
I was fine with it,
Yeah.
with AB.
so we don't have one.
Hmm.
And so we tried to negotiate a new one and they want to put it off another year. So we're just going to extend the offer we have now.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I think that's all I needed, other than the IV, but we're pretty. much-
yeah, IV will put off till next. go.
Perfect.
So now establish our next meeting date, which is September the
20th,
at 3 p.m.
yes, sir.
here in the council chambers. Now I'm gonna open it up to Debbie, media session. Do you have any questions, Debbie?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna follow up with getting some copy of some of the correspondence from staff. They'll follow up the petition and then the formal proposal from Tranquility Bank.
Okay,
Oh, that's easy, yeah.
Great, thank you.
thanks, Debbie. So now. We're
It's
going
a shame you didn't interview them. They were pretty darn happy outside.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
So now we're going to move into closed session. So, I don't have my. Get it opened up and we'll move along.
So you're looking for a mover and seconder to move into
Close,
closed section
yeah.
under section 239.2 of the municipal.
I do,
Oh, you do?
but it's not in my organized.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Oh, it's not organized.
No, I'm going through everything in the IV and I'm just not at that yet, so.
He's looking for a motion to go into closed.
Everything else is good? Yeah,
Section
yeah.
239.2.
For the purposes
municipal act,
of,
For the
uh,
purposes of negotiation.
oh, there it is, it's got a nice big purple pepper clip and everything on it, there we go.
But you have to have identifiable individual.
And I'm gonna add it, so.
Okay.
So I'm looking for a mover, okay, so that the committee proceeded to closed session in accordance with the municipal act, 2001, section 239-2, to deal with the matters as indicated below. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. A position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on or on behalf of the municipality local board.
I'll move that.
You have
Thank
to-
you.
you have to add the other one.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, yeah, identifiable individual
Yeah.
is in there.
Okay.
I need a
Yeah,
drink.
because
No, no,
the
you put that
together
one
for
there.
negotiation.
Yeah,
Can I have a mover?
that's,
Brent, thank- okay,
Yep.
we're now going into closed. I'm gonna ask everyone to have a good day.
can you take 5 minutes? or-
Jen, we have a public meeting.
What's that?
We have a planning meeting in 10 minutes.
I know.
So why don't we just move this until after the meeting? No.
Well, I can pause, I can suspend this meeting and then come back into it after council.
Okay, so then you have to take us out and close now.
Oh, yeah,
So we're still on, we're still live.
yeah, yeah, I didn't realize that we're at 5
I
hours.
thought we might knock off one, but yeah, let's,
If somebody needs a break, so we're not gonna come in out of, oh, wow.
I need, no, before you.
No,
Okay.
go here.
I
We're
know
gonna
we're
come-
still live.
Okay.
I know
So,
we're in close, but.
Can I get
we're still
a,
live.
somebody to move it, go to out of close?
Yes.
Jennifer, all in favor? Thanks.
Okay.
They can
so-
stay if they want.
Okay, so we are not adjourning the meeting.
No, we're not.
We're gonna take a little break.
Okay, so I need someone to move, second, and approve that we are recessing at what time?
We're recessing at approximately 5:02
5:02?
to be returned after the council
The
meeting,
council meeting.
this
Yeah.
evening.
Okay. and
Brent moves it.
everyone is-
Everybody's in
Yeah.
favor? Grant? Yep. Merv? Yep. Okay.
People are